In the quiet corridors of a quiet hospital there are whispered stories of a man known only as Brother Joe, whose life was full of spirits and liquor. It is said that his soul was imbued with the essence of alcohol, and his days are but a forgotten memory. As the story progresses, Brother Joe finds himself in the care of this mysterious institution, a place where the shadows of those who wish to escape from chains gather. In the daytime, hospitals are a beacon of normalcy. But when dusk falls, an eerie coldness settled in. The old man spoke of a strange concoction of medicine. It is a medicine given at dusk to suppress the inner demons that scratch in the hearts of the afflicted. They claim that this elixir can quell even the most intense cravings. Left adrift in a sea of trance, even the saliva flowing from the lips felt like a distant dream. Brother Joe, who is currently a demon among the living, traveling across this limited space for 2 long months. Each day moves toward that elusive clarity. Treatment requires sacrifice of time. Twice full moon with relatives signing the contract. In this healing realm, there was a room where many souls coexisted. Each must fight their own ghost. Among them was a mysterious figure. An uncle who seemed to only exist in the veil of night. Rumors spread that he was a serious drug addict. A man was so ensnared that daylight never appeared. This uncle, who was a devil in his own right, bound with invisible straps. At night, he lets out a cry of despair that echoes throughout the hall. And when that happens, the truth will fade away. Only whispers remain and the weight of sleep remains. But our Brother Joe, no, he began to feel a change within. The stories that once flowed from him. It was as if the endless stream had dwindled down to just a single drop. He questions the necessity of the medicine. His appetite returned. His mind was clear. Still, the Institute's rules were strict, 2 months, no less. In a moment of clarity, Brother Joe asked about the sound of his missing uncle's night. The response was as cold as the night air, a straightforward declaration of death. Confusion reigns. When Brother Joe struggles with the reality presented to him, the uncle, once thought to be just a mirage of toxic smog, actually existed. His existence is intertwined with Brother Joe's journey. Night after night, Uncle came back. His constant presence in Brother Joe's ever-changing world. Questions hung in the air without answers. As the drug takes hold, and consciousness slips away. In the quiet night within the walls of the place that straddles the line between sanctuary and purgatory, Brother Joe must contend with a reality that seems to be unfolding before his eyes. An uncle who was a drug addiction demon was announced to have passed away from this world. But his apparition is still pending. Haunting appearance at dusk. Brother Joe was resolute in his sanity. Announces his readiness to return to the world beyond these walls. He waited for the doctor's decision, which is a declaration of his clarity. The doctor who keeps the door to freedom. Confirm his mental sanity. No longer needing the numbing medicine that dominated his days. Brother Joe has moved to a new residence. This is an area that seems normal. Brother Joe found himself among the others, who almost returned to the world they had left behind, just like him. Television, which is a signal of ordinary things flashing in the corner of the room. And there is a shared bed, regardless of the invisible lines that often divide us. Among the patients there was a young girl who had just left childhood. And another, a woman, who has been around for more than 4 decades. The couple began their own journey of abstinence. Their conversation of an ordinary day ceased as dusk settled over the room's cloak. 2 women bonded over unspoken fears. Gathered together under the safety of a shared blanket. Their silence is an invisible barrier against fear. Brother Joe was puzzled by their nightly ritual. So he asked about their fears. Instead, they were met with tears and a warning, don't talk about the devil in the room. The light of day brings confessions about encounters with another world. The story that Brother Joe dismissed as just a side effect of the treatment. But when the sun goes down, the atmosphere in the room changed. The tension is palpable. Even a flickering television screen cannot be eliminated. The remote control, an object with little function, has become a lifeline to normalcy. Until it succumbed too much to the room's eerie influences. As Brother Joe reached out his hand to revive the electronic light, a new figure appeared, a young woman. Her eyes were glued to the screen. Her existence goes unnoticed. A question hanging in the air without an answer. While the young woman remained motionless, it was a statue. Brother Joe, who was in charge of the morale of the room, tried to distract, but the woman's silence turned into an emptiness that swallowed up sounds and feelings together. Then, in a moment that shattered the fragile peace, the woman's simple plea for help echoed throughout the room. A plea that seems to carry 1,000 unspoken stories. The sound of her laughter getting louder and louder. This caused Brother Joe to flee into the arms of another patient. In the quiet night, Brother Joe tells a story that blurs the lines between the self and the impersonal. Nurses, as they are called. It appears to be the guardian of the threshold. Watch out for any spirits who try to escape from the confines of their reality. Staff and caretakers are on hand at all times. But Brother Joe didn't dare to expel them, for fear that perhaps they were more than ordinary humans. He was stimulated to return to sleep, which is a command that reflects unspoken authority. Brother Joe stood in the doorway. Entrance to the unknown, paralyzed by unexplained anxiety. A baton, a controlled object, lay ominously next to him. Be a silent protector. The voice urged him forward, which was a confirmation cry that he would return to the room again. He complied and returned to his place. But the atmosphere has changed. A room that is now a sanctuary for the weary. It becomes a collective refuge. As they gathered in the corner of the room, television is the only connection to a world that seems increasingly distant. As the night wore on, the television channels changed to their liking. There is a spectral hand to guide the remote. There was no request for escape. The words disappeared into the void. Then, amidst the darkness, a figure emerged. Her mouth hung open in a silent scream, which soon turned into a cacophony of laughter. The sound of the dissonant symphony was too loud for Brother Joe to bear. His heart was pounding. The sound of the drum heralds impending doom. If you want to leave this place, we must receive blessings from our relatives, which is the signature that will break the bondage of healing. But Brother Joe's story turned out to be surreal. When that woman, whose laughter still reverberates, disappears into the ether, she really was there? Or is she just a hallucination of a mind that is teetering on the brink of madness? Laughter turned into screams. A haunting melody that plays in a circle. Brother Joe couldn't endure the torture any longer. While the two women fled, he followed suit. His flight is a desperate attempt to escape the insanity that has enveloped him. A hospital which is a haven for people with neurological problems. It became a theater of horror. Brother Joe's reality was to open his mouth beyond human limits.